Namaskaram. I'm very happy to be performing as a part of the Tatparya Sangeetham series organized by Praapthi Events and Sri Devarajan, who joins us on the Mridangam today. And with me is also Sri Pavan Sughosh on the violin. This has been a very unique and a learning opportunity for me as an artist to reflect inward on compositions that have a very deep personal significance to me. And I'm very excited to share this with all of you today. Let me take you back on a journey to the year 1762. Sri Vishwanatha Shastri and his wife Vengalakshmi were residing in Tiruvarur, and they were serving Sri Kanchi Kamakshi, who was in Tiruvarur in those days, residing in the Tyagarajaswamy temple premises. Of course, he was a very devoted Archaka to Kamakshi, Sri Vishwanatha Shastri. He and his wife were a childless couple yearning for progeny, and they were also devotees of Perumal, Sri Venkatachalapati. And on the last Saturday of every month, they would conduct Perumal Puja in their house, followed by Brahmana Bhojanam. On one such occasion, one of the Brahmins, overcome by divine energy, prophesied that the couple will be blessed. They will be blessed in the next year, in the month of Chaitra, in the Kritika Nakshatram, with a beautiful, lovely child. And so it happened. And they named the child Venkata Subramanya. Venkata after the child's grandfather, but also because this prophecy happened during the auspicious Perumal Puja, and Subramanya, given the nakshatram in which he was born. But ellarkum chella pernu onnu veppa illaya atla koopidradhukku. Because of the child's charming face and his complexion, they called him Shyama Krishna. I think by now all of you would have understood who I am referring to. I am referring to none other than the great composer, the oldest of the Trinity, Sri Shyama Shastri. I feel a very deep connect with this composer, and I will definitely share why through this journey. And so today, please join me on a journey where I'll be presenting three of his compositions, which I feel connected to. Of course, being in born in a family where they were Archakas serving Kamakshi, Shyama Shastri was trained in all the puja paddhatis, the religious aspects, the spiritual aspects of serving Kamakshi. His father, of course, also trained him to be adept and to gain mastery over Sanskrit and Telugu, despite Tamil being his mother tongue. And so, like the others in the Trinity, he had a mastery over more than just one language. And in fact, interesting fact, he composed over 300 kritis. Unfortunately, only 72 odd of those are available to us today. And 52 of those are actually in Telugu. Only 15 in Sanskrit and about 5 in his mother tongue, Tamil. So music was not really, a very big part of his life growing up, naturally, because of, background of his family. His maternal uncle did train him in the basics of music, given he was a connoisseur of music. But the turning point happened in Shyama Shastri's life when he met a Sangeetha Swamin. At that point, Shyama Shastri was 19 years old. He had already moved to Tanjavur with his parents and Kanchi Kamakshi in order to protect her from potential invasions. And she was then residing at the Kunkaneshwar temple. And actually, before I talk about his meeting with the Sangeetha Swamin, I should talk about another very interesting incident. I view Shyama Shastri as a prodigy. And prodigies are divinely gifted and divinely guided. So they need very little teaching, formal teaching as such, right? And nothing is really a big obstacle to them, right? As I mentioned, because they're divinely guided. And so on one such incident when they were in Tanjavur, Shyama Shastri's father is caught up with some work, so he requests Shyama Shastri to take over that day's puja and and do puja to Kamakshi in the temple. So of course, Shyama Shastri follows, and with utmost devotion and sincerity, he completes the puja. And then Tana Marandu, in a state of trance, he starts singing verses after verses to Kamakshi in a garland of ragas. And he's in a state of trance. He doesn't know what is happening around him. When he comes out, he sees that there is a very elderly gentleman in the village, an influential gentleman, who's almost in tears and standing there. And he says, Kamakshi kondu vandu nirthitani. Such was the power of his music. Hearing this, Shyama Shastri's uncle becomes rather irritated and jealous. Na solli kodutha paiyan enniye minjitaan, right? And he tears apart some of the music work he's done. But that doesn't stop Shyama Shastri, as I mentioned. He's a prodigy. But like I said, a turning point in his life was when a Sangeetha Swamin, a very learned man, comes to spend the Chaturmasyam period in his house. As you know, typically they don't travel, sannyasis don't travel in the Chaturmasyam period, they stay put. And it is said in that 4-month period, he spotted the genius in Shyama Shastri and imparted everything that he could to Shyama Shastri. And before he left, he took Bhiksha from Shyama Shastri's father and he said, you note, this boy is going to be known as a gem in Carnatic music for eternity. And that he is. Shyama Shastri composed in relatively few ragas, but some fairly rare ragas that he is said to have composed for the first time in, for example, Chintamani. But Ananda Bhairavi is said to be among his favorites, and it is a ragam that he fairly, I would say, revolutionized and changed. Because until then, Ananda Bhairavi was primarily used, as a ragam to tune folk music. But he changed its stature to closer to what we see today, being presented as Ananda Bhairavi. And Ananda Bhairavi is a ragam also very close to me. My father has been a very influential figure in my life, much more than a father. He's been a friend, mentor, guide, really my go-to person for anything and everything. And ever since we were young, my sister and I think she would, and my mother would vouch for this, that on a daily basis in the morning wouldn't be complete without my father humming and alapane in Ananda Bhairavi. So when I think of Ananda Bhairavi, I can only hear my father's voice ringing in my ears. That's my only association for this ragam. So today I will be rendering a very special composition in a language that Shyama Shastri composed to a lesser extent in Sanskrit. Pahi Shri Girirajasute. Again, a very special composition to me, and why that is, I will share right after I finish rendering the Kriti. पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते कलिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते करुणा कलिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते करुणा कलिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते करुणा कलिते पद सरोजमनुसरमिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते करुणा कलिते पद सरोजमनुसरमिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते कलिते पद सरोजमनुसरमिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते रणुपमगतिं एकाम्रवति सति सुरति देहि मते रणुपमगतिं एकाम्रवति सति सुरति देहि मते रणुपमगतिं एकाम्रवति सति सुरति तेजसा तुलिता दिव्य मूर्ते ललिते देमते रणुपमगतिं एकाम्रवति सति सुरति तेजसा तुलिता दिव्य मूर्ते ललिते अति ललिते समगरि सनि सगम पादम अपगम गरि सनि समगरि सनि सगम पादम अपगम गरि सनि समगरि सगम पम सनि समगरि गरि नि सनि द गम पम गम गरि गम पम गरि सनि समगरि सगम पम सनि समगरि गरि नि सनि द गम पम गम गरि गम पम गरि सनि पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते करुणा कलिते पद सरोजमनुसरमिते पाहि श्री गिरिराजसुते देवी पुराणी निगम विनुते प्रीतिरे हवसतुते देवी पुराणी निगम विनुते प्रीतिरे हवसतुते मानदेनु निरवजिते मानदेनु दिनवजिते युधिजितेन्द्र विमते अम्बरे वाविराज कृतनुते युधिजितेन्द्र
विमते अम्बदेवा विराज कृतनुते कामकोटि पीठ गते कामकोटि पीठ गते दीन जननी करे अम्बरी सुचरिते कामकोटि पीठ गते दीना जननी करे भुवि वरदेवते सुचरिते समगारि सनि सगम पादम गम गरि समगारि सनि सगम पादम गम गरि समगारि सगम पम सनि समगरि गा म प म ग ग म गरि ग म प म गरि सम गरि सरि स ग ग म प द म प ग म गरि सम गरि स ग म प म प सनि स म गरि ग गरि नि स नि द प द प म प म ग ग म गरि ग म प म गरि सनि प श्री गिरिराज सुते करुणा कलिते पद सरोज मनुसर मिरे ओ बप्पा ही श्री गिरिराज सुते
Such a beautiful composition of Shama Shastri and Ananda Bhairavi. I think a few things that I take away from this kriti. Sapa sa பாடிட்டு ஆரம்பிக்கணும்னு சொல்லுவா இல்லையா, இந்த கிருதி பாடினா தேவையே கிடையாது. பஹேஸ்ரீ சபசா வெறும் anchor notes வச்சு what a beautiful melody he is able to create. And for me, Paheshri, I can already hear Ananda Bhairavi, though there is nothing unique about these notes to Ananda Bhairavi at all. They are universal, sapasa. You may wonder that Shamakrishna is generally the mudra used by Shamakrishna Sodari or Shamakrishna, or is generally the mudra that Shama Shastri uses in his composition. You may wonder that this composition didn't have the mudra, but actually it is very much present. Most of Shama Shastri's compositions have multiple charanams actually, of which only one generally has been sung and popularized. It's just that the one that we sing doesn't have the mudra. This composition in particular has 3 charanams, and the third one actually has his mudra that we don't sing. The other things that stand out for me from this kriti is in the Anupallavi, if you notice, he says Ekamrapati Sati Sudati. So Ekamrapati Sati, so Ekamreshwarar is the Shivan in Kanchipuram, his consort, his wife Kamakshi. Sudati is one with beautiful teeth. Of course you can take it literally such that Shama Shastri is saying that she has beautiful teeth, but that's not the Tatparyam that I take from this. The way I look at it is slightly different, right? And that's just of course my personal interpretation, and feel free to leave your interpretations also in the comments. But the way I look at it is, he always sees his mother goddess smiling. But sirikkarchedane we can see their teeth. Otherwise, when somebody is just frowning or doesn't have an expression, you can't see their teeth. So he always sees his mother smiling. That's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is, childlike flattery. You want your mother to smile a little more. What beautiful teeth you have, ma. Your mother smiles a little more. You see her teeth even more, right? So that's the way I look at the way he has composed it. And what a genius writing. And they say this about all Shama Shastri kritis, right? Urikke pudusa meaning varum abdintu. They look very simple, but there's something in it for everybody, is what they say about Shama Shastri kritis. And look at the play of words. He says Lalite Ati Lalite. So Lalita, of course, he's saying Lalite, Amma Lalite, he's calling her. He's using it as a noun. Lalite, Ati Lalite. Ati Lalite, here he's using Lalite as an adjective. Ati, he's using it to hyperbole, they say, right, in English, form of speech where you exaggerate. Ati Lalite. Lalite is one who's capturing your heart, captivating your heart, lovely. So these are the meanings, right? So such a smart use of words to create such a beautiful effect. So these are some things that always stand out and stay with me when I sing this kriti. And I mentioned this is a special one, right? So I'll share with you why. So this was, in Jan of last year. My daughter was all of 2 months old, and I was at my parents' house, enjoying some rest time. And that was the time my daughter Anagha had just started recognizing people, faces, expressions, sounds, and reacting and responding to it. So I was quite, excited and curious to see what her reaction would be to music. And somehow I don't know why this kriti of all the many I have learned, and it's not like I had sung this that recently at that point, but somehow this came to my mind, maybe because I heard my father humming Ananda Bhairavi that morning, I don't know. And I sung Pahi Shri Girirajasute, one line to her. Immediately she chuckled and started, smiling, laughing, kicking her hands and legs. And I was very excited. And I sung it a few more times, and she started making, deep-throated sounds as though to say, I'm following you, I'm singing exactly what you're singing. So that was very exciting. Now, of course, she's a little more of a babbler and she puts the talam. And then I said, okay, let me try another ragam. And I chose a diametrically opposite ragam, and I chose Punnagavrali. And I sang Yehi Annapurni, and she immediately started crying. So they say, right, ragams have the ability to influence what you're feeling. So true. Perhaps that's why the name Ananda Bhairavi. But let's get back to Shyama Shastri's life, right? And we spoke about Sangeetha Swamin and what a great influence he has been. So before leaving, he tells Shyama Shastri, Yarttu Moraya poi kattuka vanda. Kamakshiyana pathapa. Nena Tanjavur court po. Go to the Tanjore court and listen to Pachamiriyam Adiyappaya, genius musician, of course, we know, who is much older to Shyama Shastri. And he was in the Tanjore court in those days. Of course, all of us know him as the stalwart composer of Viriboni. Viriboni Padina, there's nothing more to Bhairavi Abdin Sundavalya. And Shyama Shastri has also been greatly influenced. We can see that in fact in his Kamakshi Swarajati in Bhairavi, which is a part of his magnum opus Swarajati compositions, the Ratnatrayam. Very influenced by Viriboni. So on one such occasion, Guru Sthanatla Pakararilla, Pachamariyam Adiyappayava, Shyama Shastri. So he says to Shyama Shastri, Niyadana Pad, Niki, sing something. And Shyama Shastri is known to have enjoyed his beetle leaves. So Pakatli or Vetala Poti Epume Irkuma. We have seen that in fact in his portraits also you can see. And so he is chewing his Vetalai. And he, again, Tanna Maranda, he goes into a state of trance and he starts singing about Kamakshi. And he finishes singing, he opens his eyes and he sees, he's astonished and ashamed, and he immediately falls at Pachamariyam Adiyappaya's feet. He sees that his Vetalai has left marks and stains on Pachamariyam Adiyappaya's veshti, and he's very, very, feeling very bad, very shameful. He apologizes profusely. And Adiyappaya says, no, please don't. Nee padala, Kamakshi padina. So he saw Kamakshi in Shyama Shastri when she was singing. He said, these are her blessings, so please don't apologize, I'm grateful. And so he has been a very influential figure, a very influential, though not a formal guru, but you don't have to formally learn from someone to call them your guru, right? So he has been a very influential person for Shyama Shastri. Shyama Shastri, of course, apart from the Bhakti Bhavam, in his music that stands out for all of us, he's also played around quite a bit with Layam. And Chaputalam specifically is one that he seems to have used quite a bit. And it is said that he actually was the first one to introduce Viloma Chapu in his compositions. Viloma as in the opposite of Chaputalam. So it is 4 plus 3 instead of 3 plus 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is Viloma Chapu. My next rendition will be a kriti in Viloma Chapu, in praise of not Kamakshi but Madurai Meenakshi this time. I think all of us would know that Shyama Shastri, unlike some of his contemporaries, was not much of a traveler, right? Because I think the end goal of his music was very different. He was actually a very big Sri Vidya Upasakar. Not many people might know, but the goal of his music was not to upasniya varnikar, or providing technical details of that in his kritis, or talking about various kshetrams. That was not the end goal of his music. His end goal of his music was Kamakshi Upasana and Nadopasana, really. Which is also probably why he didn't really have many disciples, and unfortunately that's why we've lost many of his compositions and we don't have them with us today. But on one rare occasion when he was at Pudukottai visiting Brihadamba, an elderly gentleman tells Shyama Shastri, why don't you go to the Meenakshi temple and sing in praise of Madurai Meenakshi? And so he accepts that request and he goes to Madurai. And he sings, composes 9 kritis, 9 gems called the Meenakshi Navaratna Malika in praise of Madurai Meenakshi. Today I will be singing one of those compositions in Ragam Dhanyasi, Meenalochana. I will again share, my special association with this kriti, as well as some of my takeaways after the rendition. It is said that after Shama Shastri's completed rendition of this Kriti, the priest in the temple, moved by the rendition, came to Shama Shastri and gifted him with a shawl, a red shawl, and a tambura with a yali on the head of the tambura, which is also the tambura you will see in Shama Shastri holding in all the portraits that you see of him. It's very unique. It's got a yali on the head. Some things which stick with me for this Kriti, as far as this Kriti is concerned, just the imagery that Shama Shastri has created. Anyone who hasn't even visited the Meenakshi temple can picture Meenakshi in the way he has described her or sung about her. Meenalochana, of course, fish, shaped eyes, beautiful eyes. Samajagamana, the one with a majestic gait. Of course, you can, Samaja, literally gait of an elephant, but one with a majestic gait. Chandra Kaladharini, one with a crescent moon on her head. And Nirada Veni, long black tresses, black hair. What a beautiful imagery he is creating of Meenakshi, of Ambal. They also say that Shama Shastri actually had a sister with the name of Meenakshi. And so he could be, lovingly referring to her when he says, Shyama Krishna Sodari. And the other thing that really stuck with me for this, as far as this Kriti is concerned, is the different Yedipas in this Kriti. It's not standard, right? Takka Meena Kamapalini Bhavani Chandra. So Chandra inge varudhu, Bhavani inge varudhu, and Takka Kama, inge Kamapalini inge varudhu. So the different Yedipas in this Kriti also add beauty to this Kriti, in addition to it being set to Vilumachapu. Now, in terms of my personal association with this Kriti, so there are two of them really. One of them was, I was in Kuala Lumpur. My husband is a consultant, he travels, and so he was in Kuala Lumpur on a project, and he said, why don't you come spend the weekend here, you haven't seen the city, it'll be good fun. So I went a day earlier, I went in on Friday, and I have my music classes on Friday evening, and I didn't want to miss it. And we were just finishing up this Kriti, I was learning this Kriti, and we were just finishing it up. And right after we finished, imagine in Kuala Lumpur, in the heart of the city, we finished singing. There's a Devi Purapada from a temple right across the hotel. Until then, I haven't even noticed that there's a temple across the hotel, frankly. It may not mean anything, but Nimittam nu solluvalya, for me it meant something. It made me feel quite nice. That we just concluded this and, Devi Purapada started. So it was, whenever I sing, that memory always comes to me. And the second is, we visited the Meenakshi temple when I was quite young. My parents always used to make me sing. Whichever deity we visited, they would always make me sing in the sannidhi of the deity. At that time, I never understood, the significance it would hold for me, because you're all of 11, 12, you're listening to your parents, pardon chana pada avladhan, okay. But now when I think back, I actually sang in the, sannidhi, and the priest actually came to me and said a few kind words. And that asata sandosham, Shama Shastri angadhan paadinarilla. Of course, avarengyo nammengyo, but so that memory will always be, with me. So those are some of the memories associated, I think, with this Kriti. So in addition to my personal associations with some of these Kritis that I'm sharing with you today, I also mentioned I feel some sort of a personal connect with the composer himself as well. And so that's something I want to talk about at this juncture. So Shama Shastri saw Kamakshi as his mother goddess, right? That's what they say. But I might as well actually turn that around on its head and say, maybe he saw divinity in motherhood. That's something motherhood is divine. But honestly, I didn't realize the true, the gravity or the weight of it until very recently, when I myself became a mother. And the amount of, as I struggle on a daily basis to be, somewhat a good mother, trying to match, at least trying to match some small portion of what my mother has done for me, I realized how much it must have taken for her. I mean, all mothers, but I'm speaking, of course, of, for me personally, my mother, how much of resilience, strength, selflessness, unconditional love, compassion, equanimity it would take for someone to be a good mother. And if this is not divinity, what is? For me, this is my definition, right? And so I connect in that sense, with the viewpoint of Shama Shastri. Also, my father, as I mentioned, he's always been a very big positive influence for me in my life. And he's a Sri Vidya Upasakar as well. And so growing up, Devi Pujas at home was, quite a norm. And singing for Devi Pujas used to be, our way of offering prayer. And so always my go-to kritis would be Shyama Shastri kritis because of the Bhakti Bhavam in these kritis that I could relate to. I'm not adept at any other way of offering prayers. So for me, this was my go-to. And everyone's music has a purpose, right? Like I mentioned, Shyama Shastri's purpose was just Nadopasna and Kamakshi Upasana, nothing beyond. No seeking patronage from kings, popularizing his music or disciples, or none of that, right? And as I think about what I want to do with my music, what is my purpose, that's a purpose I would like to align with. These are, of course, very, very, big words or big, I think, goals to have. It's easier said, tougher to do. But I think over time, that's the outcome, or that's the end goal that I would like to strive towards. Using music to connect with the divine and really not look at it through in any other way. I think that I would like that to be the goal of my music when I sing. And lastly, I think the connection was also because of Kamakshi being a common thread. So Kamakshi in different ways is important and influential in my life. So Kamakshi is my paternal grandmother, my father's mother. She is my father's spiritual guru and my father is mine. And so she has been very important in terms of our spiritual path. She's also the presiding deity in my parents' house. So whenever I sing, I can close my eyes and sing, I can picture, the goddess in my parents' house. So some of these are, I think, common connections or I would say linkages which help me connect with Shyama Shastri as a composer. I'll conclude this performance with a rendition of a very beautiful piece of his in Natakurunji, where he calls out to his mother, Mayamma, in Natakurunji. A few things, I think, which stick with me as far as this kriti is concerned, and I'll talk about this because I don't want to speak after the song. It's a beautiful piece in itself, which I hope I can do justice to. But I learned this kriti from so my mother is my first guru, and she took me to Vidushi Kalyani Sharma, my guru, formal guru, who tutored me for many years. I was all of 13. I joined her, and this is the first Vilamba Kala kriti she taught me, which she learned from her guru, Shamagudi Mama. So very special kriti for me, and as such I was soft corner for Vilamba Kala kritis. I think some things that stick with me in this kriti is the swaraksharam. Again, very, very genius usage by Shyama Shastri. The swaram ma and the lyric sahityam ma to call out to his mother. And so many different ways in which he uses ma, calling out to the mother, ma, cajoling her, ma, chiding her. So just using one syllable and one swaram, he conveys so much. So it's a very beautiful kriti. And also the chitta swaram coined in this kriti, along with its sahityam, again very, very beautiful pieces. So lyrical beauty, the raga bhavam, the sahityam and the swara sahityam and the chitta swaram all make this a really, in my eyes, one of my a masterpiece and one of my favorites of Shyama Shastri. And the one line that I can never get enough of in this kriti is, he ends saying, Maha Tripura Sundari, Ninne Hridayamu Pattukonu. I hold you in my heart, inside my heart. Oh Ma, he says. Again, is he just simply, conveying what you see on the face of it, which is, I keep you in my heart, O Mata? Or is he saying divinity lies within? One can only guess the Tatparyam from their eyes, right? And that's, I think, the beauty of his compositions. Endless Tatparyams depending on how you choose to view it. And for me, I think the newest addition to my Tatparyams of this, line is, so I think in our tradition we give 3 names, La Punya Janatla, to the newborn child. So one of the presiding deity in my house, in my husband's house in Singapore, is Tripura Sundari, Bala Tripura Sundari. So we gave that name to also my daughter. So Tripura Sundari ninne hridayamu pattukono. I think it should be evident who I'm talking about. Of course, my daughter. So again, special in that right as well. So I'll conclude with this lovely piece in Natakurunji. So Viritam from the Kamakshi Stotram, followed by Mayamma in Natakurunji.
Gandharvamara Gandharvamara Siddhacharanavadhu Dhyeyam Patakanchita Gaurim Kunkuma Panka Pankita Kucha Dvandvabhirama Shubha Gambhirasmita Vibhramankita mukhe Gambhirasmita Vibhramankita mukhe Gangadhara lingita Kanchipuri Devata Kanchipuri Devata Kamakshi Mayam ha